Hi, everyone. My name is John Ramo, and I'm CEO of a company called Boulder Learning, which is an educational technology research lab and publisher. And I'm pleased to be here this evening with Dr. Carrie Hauser, president of Colorado Mountain College, and Lynne, who is an author and a filmmaker. And we're going to talk about the power of education, especially with relation to the environmental literacy. So I thought I'd just say a few words, and then we'll framing some of the issues with environmental literacy, and then we'll each tell you what we're working on and how our work is powering education, and then hopefully we'll have some time for some questions. So when I was sort of thinking about how to prepare for this, I did a little bit of research and found that the Center for Education Reform had a great quote, and they said that we're faced with a wave of domestic and international turmoil. Education has never been more important to solving both. And they put out a report recently that said that 40 years after the report, which was A Nation at Risk, we've really had a hard time reforming education and getting a lot of new ways of learning into the education system, and we've barely scratched the surface. So I think that goes also, it sort of frames the whole context of environmental literacy. And just to give you a little bit of background on that, in the fall of 2015, there were about 50 million students in public elementary and secondary schools, and about 60% of those students are not proficient in science and math. And the National Environmental Education Foundation had some very interesting statistics. They said that only 53% of adults know how long it takes for the Earth to revolve around the sun. Only 59% of adults know that the earliest humans and dinosaurs did not live at the same time. And only 47% of adults can roughly approximate the percent of the Earth's surface that is covered with water. And only 21% of adults answered all three questions correctly. So obviously there's a great challenge with environmental literacy. And so the first question that I had was, well, what is the definition of environmental literacy? And one definition was that a student can demonstrate knowledge of the environment and circumstances and conditions affecting it related to air, climate, land, food, energy, water, and ecosystems. So there's a great challenge to not only reform education, but also inform environmental literacy. So I thought that would be a sort of a way to kind of frame the issue, and then we'll each tell you now about what we're doing in terms of our work to power education. So I'm going to turn to Dr. Hauser first, and she's going to tell you about Colorado Mountain College.
Hello, everyone. Stalwart audience out there. Nice to see you. I'm Carrie Hauser, President and CEO of Colorado Mountain College. Always give the 30-second little soundbite on who we are, because we're not necessarily a well understood higher education enterprise, even in our own backyard. We're an independent taxing district, which comprises 9 counties and 12,000 square miles here in the Central Rockies of Colorado. It includes very generous counties like Pitkin, which is where we live here, or where we are today, Summit Eagle, Routt County, up where Steamboat is, Lake County, and Garfield County. And the interesting juxtaposition about where we are today is that we were born 50 years ago based on the property tax wealth of Garfield County, which was at the time oil and gas almost exclusively, and Lake County, which was molybdenum, steel hardener. And now we're in a sort of a place where the college is still part of that historical roots, and also trying to repurpose and think about how we are living and walking our walk and talking our talk as an institution that is committed to all the things that we are here today. Our vision statement actually incorporates sustainability in it, and I will read it to you just so you have a sense. We aspire to be the most inclusive and innovative student-centered college in the nation, elevating the economic, social, cultural and environmental vitality of our beautiful Rocky Mountain communities. There's an ROI in that vision statement, because if we do the first part, then we return on the investments that our communities make in us. In 2009, my predecessor signed the American College and University President's Climate Commitment, pledging to be carbon neutral by 2050. And we at the institution look at sustainability through a couple of different lenses, certainly through our curriculum, and we try to walk our walk and talk our talk. And I'm going to talk a little bit about a sustainability study that we just completed, which is on the website as a resource for all of you if you're interested in it, and which is why Chip asked me to be here. I think it's pretty time sensitive. In terms of our curriculum, I was just talking to a few folks about this, but we offer solar photovoltaic installer certificates at our Rifle campus, and a Bachelor's of Art in Sustainability Studies. That's sort of an interesting combination. We are a certificate, 2-year and 4-year degree granting institution at Colorado Mountain College. We have 20,000 students across 11 campuses, and each campus sort of focuses on something specific. And our Rifle campus, again, which is in the middle of what has historically been an oil and gas hub, is really repurposing a lot of what it's doing around sort of a sustainability approach. And our Bachelor's of Art in Sustainability Studies is pretty unique in that it is a Bachelor of Arts. It is not a Bachelor of Science. It is about how we think. It's about integrated systems. It's about how you develop business practices around sustainable communities and sustainable efforts. So it's something that we think is a model and certainly are very proud of. In our sustainability program, we balance what we call the 3 E's, environment, economy, and social equity, those 3 E's. It's also about human equity, as we all know. We integrate science, design, business, agriculture, literature, strategic thinking, and foundations of sustainability, so our students are really broadly educated and can discover their own niche. When I talk to students who are completing their bachelor's degree in sustainability with us, many of them say they're going to med school or they're going into business. And that's all about integrated systems and critical thinking and thinking about how things go together. And so those are certainly pride points for us. We teach courses in sustainable agriculture, ecology and natural resource management, sustainable business and ethics, and social responsibility. Many of you know Auden Schendler, who probably has been here with Aspen Ski Company. When we first introduced our bachelor's study in sustainability studies, he quoted, "We need sustainability degrees today in the same way we needed computer science degrees in the 80s. It is the revolution, it's the future, and CMC's new program is a welcome addition to the field." So it's something we're certainly proud of, and our students go into all sorts of fields, which I find to be very interesting when I ask them. You know, you sort of assume they're going into some form of the green economy, and they're going into medicine, or they're going into architecture, or they're going into some other component, which their sustainability degree gave them the framework for. We have internships and capstone projects that students have completed with the Forest Service, working as environmental journalists and bloggers, measuring the impact of magnesium chloride on simple organisms that live near water. We have 200 plus rivers and creeks that run through our 12,000 square miles, and a number of them are the big western rivers, including the Colorado and others. So we are very integrally linked to our environmental footprint, and our students have an opportunity to be very much part of that. So we're very, very proud of and very lucky just to have this outdoor experimental laboratory in our backyard. Some of the jobs that are taken by our sustainability alumni. We have a campus in the Vail Valley, so the Walking Mountain Science Center in Avon is a big employer for us. Active Energies in Minturn, Eagle Valley Youth Coalition in Edwards, environmental health specialists certainly, agriculture, growing organic and sustainable foods. We have students doing that in many of our counties in the mountains, and certainly with the shorter growing seasons, we're sort of at the kind of at the center of thinking about how do you grow organic foods in that environment. We've published authors, both our students and our faculty, which we are certainly very proud of, and we really try to walk the walk. I mentioned a moment ago that in signing the President's climate commitment, we've conducted a college-wide, and that is more complicated than you might think when you have 12 locations spread across 12,000 square miles, and multiple mountain passes at 12,000 plus feet, but conducted a full energy audit. We've invested $3 million in upgrades to window, water usage, and heating systems. We've installed geothermal exchange fields in our campuses in Steamboat Springs and up in Glenwood Springs and Spring Valley. We've installed solar panels at our campuses in Rifle and Breckenridge, put in place a facilities energy management program to study building envelopes and to check for energy escaping from our buildings. And last year alone, we reduced our energy by 7%, just the college alone. A bridge between our curriculum and our day-to-day practices is our annual sustainability conference. Some of you may have attended. This past year, we did our second of that type and invited the community in our geographic footprint. This year we held it on Earth Day, which was convenient in Steamboat Springs, and we launched our Sustainability Action Plan, which again is on our website, but we also provided it to AREDAY so that it could be provided here. We commissioned Natural Capitalism Solutions, who many of you know. NCS is headed by Hunter Levins. I invited her to have be part of this conversation today because she led us down this road, and unfortunately she was out of town today, but it would have been an interesting opportunity, and she certainly is proud of the work that we've done together. And we're now in the process in our Board of Trustees, which is only one of 3 elected boards in the state of Colorado. So they are elected officials, are committing to this and thinking about how to represent their constituents to make sure that the college walks its walk, make sure that we actually implement our sustainability action plan, and become a model, we hope, in higher education. And in our view, given how much of the beautiful Central Rockies we hope we are somewhat responsible for, we will continue through our students and our faculty and our work to be part of this magic equation. So I'll stop there.
Thank you.
Okay.
So that's fabulous. Thank you. So Lynne is going to tell you about the work she's been doing, and in conversing with Lynne last evening, we were talking about how students and children can be really empowered and how their self-efficacy can be improved through the use of media and through the use of environmental projects in education.
Mm-hmm. This actually ties in really nicely with what you were just saying, because you're talking about college students, and I've been making films that are for use in upper elementary, middle school, and high school. And I was going to just go through some slides as I speak. But self-efficacy, for those who don't know what that means, is it's the ability of a person to understand that they have the power to make a difference in the world, to believe in themselves. And Alice Walker actually said that the one thing that keeps people from taking action is, or trying to make a difference, is the belief that they can't. And so I started out as a children's book author and illustrator. I wrote this book, The Great Kapok Tree, when I learned about the destruction of the tropical rainforest. And I realized that when I told kids about the destruction of the rainforest or pollution of rivers or cutting of the ancient forest, they'd get really upset and that they would push it away. But then if I told them stories about other kids who were saving forests, kids that saved over 40,000 acres of rainforest, or cleaning up their local rivers. These kids helped to clean up the Nashua River, or raising money, pennies for the planet, for rainforest, or putting on plays so that they can educate their parents and the community. And so I learned that when I told those stories, the kids would get very excited and they'd want to do something. So it was empowering, developing self-efficacy. And so I realized with climate change, of course, climate change is this issue that trumps all issues, and I wanted to try and empower young people to try and deal with climate change. And I found if I just told them the science or what was happening, they'd get really upset and they would push it away. And adults were doing the same thing. And so for years, I was going to these meetings of like AAAS and the Academies of Sciences and telling the scientists, you have to tell solutions. You can't just tell about the science because it just scares people. It puts them into denial. And they didn't listen to me. But finally, a study came out on motivated avoidance. It was this big research project in Canada. And it was a big study size. And it showed that when people are presented with a seemingly intractable problem, a troubling problem, that they push it away, they shut down. And then if you try and get back and teach them about it later, they put up walls. You can't even get them back. So the way that you first initiate talking about any kind of environmental issue, especially climate change, is of the utmost importance. So once the study came out, the scientists did start to understand that they had to teach solutions, but they didn't have tools. So I started making these films, Young Voices for the Planet. This is the scientists at these scientific meetings. We just need to teach the science. So a Unilever study also corroborated this, but they also said that kids can teach their parents. A League of Conservation voters showed that most adults get their environmental information from what kids bring home from school, and that the kids are the biggest pressure upon them to act sustainably. So this was very important. Just like with seatbelts, smoking, littering, it was really the kids that made these big social changes. So I was thinking we really needed to share these stories. This is kids cleaning up rivers. So I have a book that's just come out, a chapter in this book. This book is Education in Times of Environmental Crisis, and the chapter is called, what is it called? Teaching with Hope and Inspiration, Lessons from a Film Project. That's that book. And so we have this really wonderful planet, and I went to the Anastasi ruins, and I thought, wow, they'd done themselves in environmentally well. We could do the same thing to our whole society. So these are the films. And they're, for instance, Felix Finkbeiner on the bottom left. He was 11 years old, learned about how trees sequester carbon. He's planted, at this point now, he's planted a billion trees, millions of trees. You can go online, watch these films, Young Voices for the Planet, go to their website. He got discovered by the United Nations, and he met Wangari Maathai, and they helped him, and it went viral because it was a kid. And there's this girl up in the upper left. She raised $200,000 to clean oiled birds after the BP spill. And so there was a girl, these 3 kids, 9 years old, in Lexington, Massachusetts, and they saw all these other films, and they thought, geez, if these kids did all these things, then maybe we could do something too. They look just like us. And if you're aware of Albert Bandura's research on self-efficacy, that's one of the things that you see your peers doing things, that it shows you that you can too. These kids got the first plastic bag ban in California, in their town, and then other kids seeing this got the statewide ban on plastic bags in California. Children are the best messengers because they're going to bear the brunt of climate change. This is Felix, and these are these girls. They learned that of all the coastal cities in the world, Miami would suffer the greatest economic loss from sea level rise. They did an energy audit of their school. They saved their school $53,000. And then their father of Nicole, who's on the left, he went back to his friends at Rotary Club and said, the school did this. We should switch out all our air conditioning units for Energy Star. And they did. And so this went all through Miami. So you can see how it can trickle down through all the community. This is a bunch of kids who sang with Pete Seeger. And just to end, these 3 girls, 9 years old, saw the rest of the Young Voices for the Planet films, and they thought, if those kids did that, maybe we can do something. There was a law in Lexington that prohibited solar panels on town buildings. And these kids said they went to the town hall and they said, do you love us? Do you even care about us? We're going to have to bear the brunt of climate change. We need renewable energy. We want these solar panels. They got a standing ovation. They overturned the law. And within months, they had put solar panels on every town building. Then they thought, we did that. Why don't we put them on our school? They put them on their school, and they put an array at the town dump. And they thought, wow, we're not just helpless little girls. We really have power. And they say this in the movie. So then there's a piece of land behind Alice's house, she's in the middle, that's going to be developed. They go to the school, their students, the other students, they get a petition signed to save this piece of land. They go door to door, and they save this land from development. And now these kids, as Mari says at the end of the film, find your team, find your passion, find your power. So I hope you'll watch them.
So I know we're probably getting tight on time, but I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my work with Boulder Learning, and then we can try to go on and see if we have enough time for some questions. So Boulder Learning is a new company that was formed by the combination of a research lab, education research lab in Boulder, and a publishing company that I had. And the focus is on STEM education and trying to find educational technology that really helps kids learn science and math, and especially around the educational technology called virtual tutoring. Now, 30 years of research has shown that the best method of learning is one-to-one human tutoring. But we calculated how much it would cost to give every student in the United States their own one-to-one tutor, and it would be approximately $72 billion a year in order to give each student their own tutor. So how can technology help? Through grants from the National Science Foundation, the Department of Education, our team in Boulder has developed virtual tutors, which are conversational and are emotionally intelligent, so they can engage the student in learning science and talk about how science is engaging for a student. And we've developed some of the first virtual tutors in the world that are conversational. I'm going to show you a little bit about that. And in a recent study that we did with about 300 students in 10 schools in the Boulder area, they found that 90% of the students said that they felt that the virtual tutor helped them learn almost as well as a regular tutor. So virtual tutoring, I think, is the next wave of personalized learning. And of course, personalized learning, like personalized medicine, is going to be a very important aspect to help students overcome obstacles in their learning, especially when there are larger classrooms and obstacles in the classroom to learning. So I want to show you a little bit of Marnie, who is our virtual tutor. Can we play that just a little bit?
Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, Marnie.
That's great. Tell me about what you've been doing in science lately.
I've been building circuits.
Cool. Here's a circuit. Tell me what you observe.
I see the wire connected to the battery, then connected to the light bulb, and then connected to the battery.
What do you think the blue dots are all about in the picture?
I think they have to do with the electricity.
Great. Tell me more about that.
Well, for the light bulb to light up, it needs electricity. So electricity has to move around the circuit.
Great thinking. What kinds of things do you notice about the flow of electricity in the D cell?
I see electricity moving out and around, kind of in one direction.
Excellent job. What end of the D cell is the electricity flowing from?
I observe electricity moving out the negative side and back into the positive side.
Excellent observations. So tell me one more time about the direction of flow of electricity to and from a D cell.
The electricity flows out of the negative side, through the circuit, and back into the positive side.
Okay, now click on the D cell.
Okay.
What do you
You
notice
get the
about
idea. So, this is an example of virtual tutoring, and then we're also going beyond that to develop avatars that actually can recognize facial expressions to see when a student is having trouble, and the emotionally intelligent avatar will then adapt the content to work with a student to give them appropriate content, and also might say to them things like, I see you're having a little bit of trouble, can I help you with that? And this is a very powerful technology, and the research shows that it really does engage and improve student learning. So I wanted to show you that. We have 5 minutes for questions, so we'll open it up for questions.
are your different chapters and campuses teaming up or collaborating with local sustainability councils, like in your Steamboat campus with the Yampa Valley Sustainability Council?
Yep. You know, because we're sort of the common denominator in all of our communities, we're sort of attached at the hip with all of them, the respective Yampatika, here in the Roaring Fork Valley, Clear, not my particular area, so I won't be able to rattle them all off. But our local campus leaders and our local faculty and our students are very, very involved. Our students are actually working on organic farms. They're doing farm-to-table programs. So anywhere where we can have that sort of hands-on experience we were talking about a little bit earlier, our students have the opportunity to do that. And we find, because we have committed to this, because we actually have a degree program in this, we have a lot of folks that come to us. I get a lot of calls about this to say, how can we collaborate? We had some conversations today with a few folks. So we're open for business. If there are others out there that we've somehow missed, I do have information on the college and certainly contact information so we can get you to the right place.
One more quick question.
If there's no question, I'd like to add something. Okay. So we're really looking forward to integrating some of what we've been all doing together and working better together. These films are on PBS now, on 70 stations nationwide, and we're developing something called PBS Learning Media. So if any of you are interested in working with us to help adapt some curriculum that goes with the films and PBS Learning Media, doing this virtual, and then also we have films coming up on, well, we have one on lunch, on local lunch, but also on carbon sequestration in soils. So if any of you are interested in working with us, we'd love to hear from you.
One quick question. How can we see your films, Lynne?
You can see the films if you happen to be watching PBS, or you can watch them online at youngvoicesfortheplanet.com. They're free.
Great. Thank you all very much. I want to thank Dr. Carrie Hauser and Lynne Cherry for participating.